Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, The Real Kristy J, featuring me, Kristy J. All natural, all real, and in the flesh. So today I want to talk about being an empath, and I want to talk about being a Pisces and an empath, and that's me. So first of all, how do you know if you're an empath? Okay, so if you're watching this, I don't want you to be like, oh, that's me, that's me, that's me. This is like not something that you just recently started feeling. Okay, this is something that has gone on your entire life. And it's not like, oh, can I sit here and remember if it's happened to me? Like, you know, these things have happened to you because this is what it feels like to be an empath. So, first of all, being an empath, closeness and intimacy can be very overwhelming, especially if, I want to say if you're young. I know for a fact when I was young, and even sometimes today, not necessarily today, I can't say today, but sometimes that it becomes a factor. It's because we, as empaths, we're taking in so much information or energy that we need our alone time. We need to like close off. We need to like refuel. It's like a sensory overload in a sense. And so it's not that we don't care, because we experience an extreme amount of empathy. Like, a lot of empaths either exude it or they don't. I'm a person that doesn't necessarily exude my empathy, but for those who know me, they know that it's there, so it's not a problem. We also are highly intuitive. Now, for me, I want to say it's a double whammy because I'm also a Pisces, which we are highly intuitive, often psychic. Not like, oh, what's going to happen like in your future, but like psychic as far as like we could feel what's going to happen and what's going to go on. It's just because we are used to certain patterns in our life. And so therefore, you know, we can often tell. Or we have like deja vu dreams is what I like to call them. I mean, I guess that's what they're called, but you know, we have deja vu dreams, and I want to say that maybe like 90% of that deja vu dream will probably happen. With some people, the whole entire dream will happen, or maybe just little segments of it will happen. And those are kind of a trip. Like I had one where there's a huge earthquake involved in the dream. I can remember everybody that was hanging out. I can remember the place that we were in. And the only thing that didn't happen was the earthquake, which was great because I absolutely hate earthquakes. And I live in California. So, but a lot of people think that we have earthquakes all the time. Like we're just sitting here shaking all over the place. And that's not the case whatsoever. But as an empath, we also take comfort in nature. And I know for a fact that being a Pisces, I'm a water sign. I love being near the ocean. If nobody's there, that's a major plus. I love being in what is my favorite would be a redwood forest. I love being in the redwood forest. And I love being in a very dark, open area to where I can look up at the stars. I am such a huge stargazer. I can get lost looking up in the stars. I could do it for hours. There was one time where it was shortly after my dad passed away. And I think this is what kind of helped me with mourning over my father's passing. Excuse me, I can't waste the coffee. But I think what helped me in mourning over my father's passing was about a week or two after he passed away, I did mushrooms with my now husband. And I was in a dark, open area at someone's house. We were at somebody's house, and they had a huge yard, and it was high up in the hills over here. No city lights. See, we're more downtown, and they're up there. And I just sat there just stargazing and just thinking, and actually talking to my dad, and a couple times crying, and just hashed it out, and I think it was what I needed. But it was just such a wonderful feeling, like I just felt like I connected to myself, to my dad, and to the universe all at the same time. And I was able to just get through his passing and realize that his job was done. As unfortunate and as quick as it all happened, his job was done here. And I would eventually see him again. Like, I know I'm going to see him again. Like, that's just what I know and I feel in my gut. Like, I'll get into another video about what I think about us humans and the universe and like stuff like that. Like, all I can really say right now is that this is just a temporary shell on a temporary planet, because we really don't know what is out there. And I'll get into that later, because that's not what this video is about. But I'm just going to dabble a little bit right there. One major thing empaths cannot tolerate is major crowds. I cannot tolerate a major crowd. Even if I'm at a concert, like I have to... Sorry, it keeps falling down. It happens in every video. I'm like, maybe I should stop wearing sweatshirts in videos. But even at concerts, I was just recently at a Pepper concert, and magically I had space around me, even though I was in the front looking up at my favorite Hawaiian band just fucking rocking the stage. Like, it was amazing. But it was cool because like I wasn't being crowded. I wasn't being ran into. I actually met two awesome chicks standing in front of me. I got to see the freaking band. I got to fucking shake hands with the drummer. Like, it was dope. I went to a Slayer show with my husband back in November, and surprisingly enough, I had room, but it's because I chose a proper area to be in. And surprisingly, the people that we were around were what's the word? Chivalrous and were protecting a lady, I guess you would say. Not like, hey, get off her, but they weren't, like, the crowds were getting crazy. At the Slayer show, people were climbing down the wall. They were hopping over the wall that I was next to. They were trying to get into the front. And like, we were pretty close to the stage. Like, you could feel the heat from the pyrotechnics. Like, is that the right word? But either way, like, and you could see them hella good. Like, it was a dope ass fucking show. Like, for Slayer not playing anymore, like, they did Oakland good. Like, it was a fucking dope ass show. But anyway, when it comes to crowded places, or I know I'm going to be in a crowded place, like, I choose my space wisely. And I've been carrying certain crystals around with me lately too, that I think that have been helping with my own magnetic energy and making sure that I have some sort of, not that I have a bubble around me, but I feel like I have this force field around me when I carry certain crystals with me. And when I don't have it, it's a major difference. Like, it's insane. I if you are in tune with crystals, you understand what I'm talking about when you don't have your crystals with you. So, and I can touch my face because I'm at home and I've been quarantined for like ever. I don't associate with the public and my hands are clean. And yeah, so I could touch my own face and I'm in my clean ass tattoo studio. So we're good. But, yeah, so that's that about the whole like crowded spots and being an empath. And as far as like being a Pisces and how this all comes into play, like, we're really sensitive. We're water signs. There's that yin and yang battle, the good and the bad. And so it's like, I could be nice and I could be an evil fucking bitch. Like, that comes with the territory of my sign. And a lot of people don't believe in astrology and numerology and shit like that. And that's fine. You're probably religious. I don't believe in that. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got yours, I got mine. I know for a fact mine works for me and it is coming to play with my life. throughout my entire life. So it's whatever. I don't judge you. Don't judge me, but it's real. So it's hard for me to look over here at this camera when I'm trying to look at myself, because I'm looking at myself dead center in my phone, and it looks like I'm looking over here, but my camera's right there. Hi. Okay, so another thing they say about empaths is that we have a hard time not caring. But and that's true, but lately I've been training myself to not care so much. It's not that I don't want to care. It's just, it's so overwhelming to take on so much of these feelings and energies, and the reason why it's so overwhelming, and this is so wonderful that this is coming up right now, because it's coming to play in my life right now. It is so overwhelming because it doesn't get reciprocated back to us at all. And I don't expect everybody to be an empath. And I know not everybody's going to treat me the way that I treat them, in the sense that I want them to care for me that the way I care for them, or the way that I see them caring for others, or I want them to root me on like they root on others, or I want them to, it's not necessarily that I want somebody to be up my ass, but I want somebody to I want people to be my cheerleader, because it encourages me to be their cheerleader. It's so motivational when you know that people really care about you without you having to fish for it. Like, I've had multiple best friends throughout my life, because energies just change and people just change. And like right now I can say that I have a couple of best friends, and it's because like our energies match. And I love that. And things just click. They just flow. They just pick up. They're effortless. And there are some people in my life right now. There's quite a few people. I would say more than a handful of people, but less than two in my life right now that I've been trying to get to know. But it's not necessarily flowing how I would like it to. So it's kind of making me feel like, and if you're an empath, you feel that that's a warning sign, like it's a red flag in some sort of way. Not that you don't trust them, but it's some sort of a warning to like not allow you to open up too much, or we just kind of sit back a little bit, because we could feel their energy, but there is a part of their energy that is like blocked off, and you're not sure if they have ulterior motives, or if you guys just need more time to figure each other out. And it's hard, especially right now being in quarantine, because we can't hang out. Like they say 10 or more people don't hang out, but I'm trying to boost my immune system as much as possible with taking my daily supplements. But when I get sick for a month, and I'm really afraid to get whatever this is, because when I get sick, I could barely breathe. When people get this COVID-19, whatever it is, they're on ventilators. I don't want to be that person. Like, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of anything else. I'm not afraid of what people might do. I'm not afraid if things might go into martial law. I'm not afraid of anything, because I'm thinking of plans right now as to what I might do, what me and my husband might do. But not that we're paranoid, we're just talking about stuff. Like, it's really good to have discussions, because you need to know where you stand. And that's another thing. I need to know where I stand in people's lives. And it's not that I need to be reassured all the time, but it's a good feeling when people let you know, like, how they feel about you, like where you stand in their life. Like, take, for example, when my husband and I first started dating, I would say like in the first year or two, I would definitely say in the first year or two, it's a lot of getting to know each other a lot. And because after the first, less than 6 months after being together, we moved in together, because my father passed away, and things were really strange in the studio building. The building my studio was in, things were really strange there with a tenant and the landlord. And I think people were coming into my place when I wasn't there, so on and so forth. And so I moved in with my husband. We were together less than 6 months. And so it was crazy because it was quick in other people's eyes, but we knew what we wanted. We knew that we loved each other. We even said that quickly. But our relationship was completely different. At least it was completely different for me compared to any relationship that I've ever had and how I went about it. But anyway, in the beginning of our relationship, like the first year or two, we're really getting to know each other, but we're also helping each other for the better. Like we were really changing for the better. I quit drinking. I can't say that I quit it entirely. Like in a social setting, I can have a cocktail. It's not like I'm some crazy alcoholic or anything like that. Like it's never, well, I wouldn't say I'm an alcoholic. I can get carried away. I know my limit, but I definitely can get carried away if I feel like, actually, I don't feel like this anymore. I used to feel like I would be missing out on stuff. And I've learned to love myself so much and appreciate what it is that I have within myself, within my husband, in the privacy of my own home, that I don't ever feel like I'm missing out on anything outside of those things, because those things are the most important to me. And so I used to feel, it was FOMO, fear of missing out. And so I used to get carried away, and I used to get really, 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 really drunk. And I did a lot of stupid stuff. And I used to physically fight people, verbally fight with people. I lost the relationship with my older sister because of my stupid ass mouth and being drunk, but it was also directly after my father passed away and her lack of consideration for my feelings and not being there for me. So it was a combination of stuff. And a lot of weird shit happened, but either way, either way, we helped each other as far as like the whole drinking thing. So like my husband doesn't drink hard alcohol anymore. I don't really like going to bars and drinking anymore. I can go to a bar and hang out and have a cocktail. I love it when they have pool or darts or something like that, because then it or a live band, then it gives you something to do. But if it's just a bar to sit there and drink, like that's not my cup of tea. Like I'm sorry, I'm not a drinker. Like I don't even go to parties. I had quite a few drinks at the Pepper concert, but I did not enjoy the mini hangover I had the next day. And as you get older, these hangovers last like 2 days, 3 days, sometimes 4. And it's not that you're like throwing up or anything like when you're younger, getting super fucked up. They just suck the freaking life out of you. They just suck all the energy out of you. And it's just like you're losing days. And when you're an adult, you can't lose days because you got to get shit done. Shit's important. So back to what I'm saying is in the beginning, my husband would tell me a lot like, you've made my life better. Like, I'm so glad that you are in my life. You've helped me be a better person. You've helped me like really get my shit together and like, like stuff like that. And that's what you want in a relationship. You want somebody that you can not necessarily fix or help. You want someone you can grow with, somebody that you can build with, somebody that will compliment you and that you can compliment. And I'm not talking about verbal compliments. I'm talking about your whole being, your whole life, your whole appearance, your whole mindset, like everything. They compliment everything. It's not verbal compliments. That is not, that should be genuine. Don't ever fish for that. But, sometimes as an empath, it's hard to I'm finding it hard to care right now as much as people want me to, because they're not caring for me, if you know what I mean. I rarely have people, actually this never happens. I never have anybody check in on me and say, hey, how are you really doing? Like, really, like mentally, like physically, like, let's talk. Like, how are you? Like, how are you doing? And the reason why I'm saying this is because as an empath, people tend to tell you their problems a lot. Like, you are a magnet. not necessarily for drama or anything like that, but people feel comfortable with saying like, hey, like this is what's going on with me. And maybe they feel comfortable talking with you. Maybe you give good advice. Maybe, they just know that you're the one there for them because other people aren't. Or maybe you're all of it. I don't know. Maybe it's something else, but people tend to tell you their problems and nobody really cares about yours. And when you talk about yours, you either say that you're drama or you're this, or they cut you off, or they don't want to listen, or they just show that other people are more important than you. And that sucks. Like, I'm actually experiencing that. And I've been experiencing that for quite some time, maybe a couple years with a few people. Like I said, it's not just one individual. So if you're watching this, hearing this, don't feel like I'm talking about you. You're not the only person in my life. There are other people in my life. There are other people that I'm trying to give the time of day to. There are other people I'm trying to open my shell up to, because it's really easy for me to be a hermit. It's really easy for me to stay within my own bubble and not open up to new people, because I often don't deem it necessary in my life, because I am content with those that are in my life. But there are, like I said, more than a handful, less than 2 handfuls of people that I've been trying to get to know more, that I would love to have a solid bond with, that I would love to have a great friendship foundation with, because I do in the future plan on getting away from this life here, and I want that bond to be strong enough to be carried over if I travel a far distance to live. And, I want to be able to have people that would love to come and visit me and stay with me and stuff like that. Because, I want to live in Hawaii. I don't know if or when that'll happen, but that's where I want to eventually wind up. And what a great place to come and visit and stay with me, right? So anyway, people tend to, excuse me, tell you their problems. They don't want to hear yours. And like I said, it's not that I want somebody to be up my butt, but I just want people to care about me a little bit more, because right now it's making it really easy for me to not care. And I know I'm coming off negative, and I know I'm coming off as a bitch, but I'm not one to blow smoke up people's asses. I'm not one to kiss anybody's ass. I'm not one to chase after anybody if I don't feel that they care about me in the same sense. So if you're hearing this and if you feel that that is you, maybe you need to step your game up too. I'm not talking shit. I'm just being matter of fact, because this is how I operate, and I'm being open and transparent to that. I don't know how other people operate. This is just how I operate, and now. And I don't need people to walk on eggshells around me or be sensitive or feel that they can't talk to me about stuff or they can't call me out on anything. I welcome anybody who is listening to this, anybody who hears me, anybody who hangs out with me. Be real with me. I expect that, honestly. I expect you to be real with me, because I'm going to be real with you. Excuse me one second. But like I was saying, that's the only thing I do expect from people. And I know when people are lying. I don't need to investigate. Your tone says it. The look in your eyes says it. The look on your face says it. The way you use your words and you form them into sentences, paragraphs, excuses, stories, what have you. I've been hearing so many of the same things I've been hearing my entire life, to where, like I said, you recognize patterns. I don't call them triggers. They're patterns, because we're human. You know what I mean? We're bound to make mistakes. We're bound to tell a lie to make somebody feel good, because you either don't want to hurt their feelings, or you know them or you don't know them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you here and now, be real with me. Something might hurt my feelings, but I would rather the truth than a lie, because I'm going to respect you more if you tell the truth. Now, if you tell a lie, I'm going to withdraw. I'm going to fall back. And I'm not going to engage with you as much because I'm losing trust in you because you felt that you had to lie to me. A lot of people, without knowing me, know that I am open and real and transparent. Either you heard it through the grapevine, you see it, you feel it, you might have dabbled in knowing who I am a little bit. I don't know. But I don't appreciate liars. I've been dealing with liars my entire life. And it's like I have a LiDAR. And I'll eventually find out, because you can only remember so many lies. And eventually your shit just won't add up. And your energy never adds up. And I could tell when people withdraw. Like, I could tell when I am too much for certain people. Sometimes people are too much for me, but I'm a sensitive person. And sometimes people are more sensitive than me, and that's fine. I'm not judging you, but you might be too sensitive for me and I might be too much for you. And that's okay. But if I withdraw, it's mainly because of something negative. It's because you lied, or because your energy is wrong somewhere. It's off somewhere. And as an empath, we feel it. It's just natural. It's a born ability. And so when you're sensitive like this, and when you're sensitive as a freaking Pisces, a freaking water sign, like, you feel it more. It's like, I could see when my husband's thinking way too much. I could tell when there's something going on in his head. I could see the scenarios. And that's when I'm like, hey, what's going on? What's up with you? Or it's like when a friend just hella falls back all of a sudden because they feel that there might be a conflict. It's like, why did you do that? Like, we could have just totally talked it out, verbal conversation, no text. It could be video, it could be phone. We could talk it out, but I don't want you to withdraw because you feel like something might upset me. I don't want you to walk on eggshells. Like, I don't want you to feel that you have to do that, because we're not going to be able to build a friendship that way. And so I'm sensitive to some people's energies right now. And so, honestly, I've kind of withdrawn because I don't feel that I feel that I'm either not enough, like I'm not doing enough, or I'm too much, or I don't ever feel like I have to compete, but I feel that, I don't know, I feel that there's some people out there. No, I don't feel that people are trying to make me jealous, but I feel like people are trying to try me in some way, shape, or form, or trying to make me feel some type of way. And it's not that I do. I can just see and feel certain shit. Like, it's so hard to explain it to you if you don't understand being a highly sensitive empath. But either way, like, I could feel some folks out there just, and trust me, I'm not going to be jealous of you. I'm not going to compete. I am not really going to give that any care, because I'm just going to automatically fall back. That's just a natural thing that I do, because that's not who I am. As far as, like, I'm not a jealous person. I don't like to compete. But if we're talking like sports or something, like games, yeah, I'm going to compete with your ass. If we kickboxing or something, yeah, I'm going to compete with your ass. Like, no problem. But all this other mental unnecessary bullshit, all this negative energy shit, I can't entertain that, because it's not good for my well-being, and it's not good for all the progress that I've been making so far within myself, and loving myself, and being more positive, and speaking more positive, and thinking more positive. And so We're also like highly sensitive to like sounds and smells and sensations. And I mean, that should be pretty obvious. Like if we're sensitive to energies, why wouldn't it be we be sensitive to stuff like that? Like I am super sensitive, not super sensitive, but like certain scents and sounds affect me in a good way though, like when they happen at the same time. So there is I love it. Okay, so there is a certain feeling. I guess I would say it's a sound and it's a smell and it's a feeling. But either way, it just reminds me of being at my grandmother's apartments, at my grandmother's place, and like hanging out and staying the weekend with her and like, being with my grandma. And so if it's quiet and it's outside and it's a beautiful day and you hear the lawnmower and you can smell fresh cut grass, and it's like you can almost smell the green of the fresh cut grass. And the sky is nice and blue. There might be a couple clouds in the sky, a light breeze. It's a perfect 70-degree day, and you just hear the sound of a small plane flying by. I absolutely love every moment of just all of that in one bubble of just goodness. Like it just reminds me of being with my grandma. And when I think of that, when I feel that, when I hear that, I could even smell it when I talk about it. I could also hear her voice, and it's like I'm bringing her back, and it feels really good. And, there's even certain music, like I'll hear certain music in my head that just randomly pops up, or somebody will be playing something, or I'll play something, and it's like either I'm going to crank it up or I'm going to keep it at a low. And it's like lately I've been keeping certain music at a low when I'm painting, because I'm meditating as I'm painting, but it just feels perfect. But when I'm in my car, I kind of crank it up so I can kind of not necessarily ignore what's going on around me, but like I kind of get a little bit of anxiety when I drive. And I'm not an unsafe driver, and it's not that an accident will happen, but like I'm too aware of what's going on around me and what people are doing. And so loud music kind of takes my mind off a little bit of like the shitty drivers out there. So instead of me focusing on what they're doing and getting mad and getting road rage, I just crank up the good music. So, and it helps. And like I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's a sensory overload and we need to recharge. It's just, we need our me time. We need our alone time. And it's not that we don't care. We just need to regain our energy because we are taking on so much and we are giving out so much. And people aren't help. There's nobody there for us. Not in the way that we are there for them. Like an empath and an empath, like that's a great mix. Like you understand how to be there for somebody. And I think that's why like I have certain bonds with people, because I think that I don't think they're full empaths. I think they're slightly empathetic, or slight empaths. Not slightly empathetic. They are little empaths. I'm going to call them my little mini empaths. But yeah, we just need time to recharge. And most of us are introverts too. I'm an introvert, but I'm an extrovert around those that I just flow with. So those are called like an ambivert or something like that. Lately I've been having like a little bit of a hard time kind of pronouncing some things, but I think it's an ambivert. I think that's how you pronounce it. But lately what I've been experiencing too is I absolutely will not entertain, and I have no tolerance or time for any conflict. If you have a problem with me, let's talk about it. We could talk about it, but you better check yourself and your tone and how you're talking to me about stuff, because I'm not going to have you like pointing blame or talking to me like a child or talking to me like I'm stupid. You can talk to me like an adult and be like, hey, check this out. You did or said something and it made me feel like this. And I'm just wondering like what it meant. And like, can we like hash it out? Of course. Yes. Like that's how I've sometimes approached people, or like I don't approach people because they gaslight the shit out of me. and up and leave the friendship or relationship, friendship, whatever you want to freaking call it. It's friendship, all friendships or relationships, but either way, they end up just gaslighting me and spinning the fucking clock and acting as if like it's my fault and I did this, or I'm crazy, or, you know, oh, I didn't do, like, I've had certain people be like, oh, I didn't say that. It's like, bitch, yes, you did. I got it in a text message. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's right there. Or I have it in a screenshot, or like, where would I have come up with that if you didn't say it? You know what I mean? So I'm really not cool with conflict, and I'm not cool with people trying to make me feel like I'm drama, or like, I enjoy tea time. And some of you know what I mean by tea time. Like, if you want to spill the tea, yeah, I'll be a listening ear. If you need a listening ear, yes, I will be a listening ear. And if you want some tea, I will spill some tea with you as well, because sometimes I need somebody to be a listening ear. But it's not like, it's not drama, it's not gossip, it's just what, girl talk, you know what I mean? But I don't entertain conflict. I don't appreciate it when people are constantly like bringing up my name if I'm not your friend and you got something to say about me, or you feel some type of way, or you think that you need to reach out to me and we're not friends. Like, just know that that's not gonna be okay. Like, if I'm not your friend, then, and you did something, just back off and just stay in your lane, because when you cross over into my lane and you start getting into involving my friends, and then my friends are sitting here feeling some type of way and hitting me up about stuff, and it changes the mood and it changes our energy and it just disrupts our happiness of us hanging out, that's not okay. And when you tell people like, well, make sure that she's not talking about me, well, you're not in my life. I don't have anything to say about you. And I don't need to bring you up in a negative manner. You know what I mean? Like, the only time I would ever speak on somebody is if I'm being heard that in a negative manner. If I'm being heard that I'm being talked about and I feel like I need to defend myself, but like, you know, I will bring up people if I'm like, oh man, you know, we used to do this, or, you know, like good memories, shit like that, you know, because there are, let's see, there's about 3 or 4 people that I had to just like cut all ties with, and I known them like various years throughout my life, and like, you know, just people just go different ways and the energies are just off, and people are inconsiderate, or, you know, make me feel like a bad person for believing in what I believe in, and I don't want to entertain that. I don't want to entertain anybody making me feel a certain way for what I believe in, what I stand up for, because of my experiences in life and because of where I currently stand today. Like they say, if you're not putting a roof over my head, clothes on my back, food in my mouth, if you're not taking care of me financially, you have no say in my life, and you cannot judge me. Like, you're not doing anything to benefit me. So, and as an empath and being sensitive to people's thoughts, especially about me, or people's words, especially towards me, I don't want you and I don't need you to walk on eggshells, but I'm not going to tolerate any disrespect, because I'm not going to be that person to do that to you. Now, currently, right now in my life, I don't feel that I fit into certain relationships with people. And that's another thing that empaths feel, like they just naturally don't feel like they belong, or that people like them, or, you know, because you feel like you might be too much, or you feel like you might be too little. Like, we often pick on ourselves way harder than others are going to pick on us. And I think it's because we feel just a little bit more, and we're not often expressing that a lot, but mentally, like if you were to take a trip in my head just for a day, you'd be exhausted. I'm exhausted. So it's like hard to cut off the thoughts. It's hard to shut off the the energies. And so like for the past couple years, I've been seriously practicing a lot of self-love and how to not necessarily prevent things in my life from happening, but to prevent them from affecting me in such negative ways. And like I said, yes, I still speak passionately to where it may come off as dramatic or negative, but I guess it's my way of storytelling and helping you feel what I feel. And that's another thing about empaths. Like, we try to help you feel what it is that we're feeling. And if you don't necessarily understand that, or we feel that we're being judged for that, like if we're being judged by your facial expressions, by the tone of your voice, by your words, we pick up on it like fuck, okay, I guess I'm too much for you. And then we tend to isolate ourselves because you're like, okay, well, now I feel like I'm too much for that person. And so now I feel like things are ruined, and I don't know if I could try. I don't know if I could start over. I feel that they're going to feel some type of way about me now. They have some sort of picture painted about me now, or they walk on eggshells now. Like, all these things and more go through your head. And it's really difficult to make connections. It's hard. It's super hard. And like I said, it's not that I don't want to, but I guess it's why I often say, like, I am not in the market for making new friendships because it's difficult. Not that I don't want to make new friendships, but it's extremely hard. Especially now, because I feel socially awkward, because I would say that I have a bit of social anxiety, because smoking and drinking were vices for me during my party times, during the times where I enjoyed crowds and hanging out, and where I thought people enjoyed me, and so on and so forth. And now I don't have those vices, and so it kind of feels like I lost a part of me. But then again, it wasn't a part of me. It was like a negative part of me, and I'm glad that that part of me is gone, because I don't like who she was. But yeah, it's difficult. And so I used to have a hard time setting boundaries. I used to not necessarily welcome toxicity, but I entertained it. And empaths usually have a hard time setting boundaries because we take on so many emotions from others, or we feel that we ruin things with others, or we don't want to ruin things with others any further, and so we'll do whatever we can to keep them, not whatever we can to keep them around, but you know what I mean, like we're not trying to lose you, you know what I mean? But lately I've been setting a lot of boundaries. Actually, I want to say the first boundary that I set was shortly after my father passed away. I cut ties with my stepmother. Because if you've ever watched any of my previous videos, she was a very toxic person throughout my life. And then I had to cut ties with my half little sister, who's the daughter of my dad and my stepmother. And I had to cut ties with her because I can't trust her. She lies about me, and she's not a good person to me. Like, I have always wanted to be an older sister to her, but I was always prevented from doing that. And you can watch that in other videos if you'd like. My older sister cut ties with me very shortly after my dad passed away. I want to say maybe a couple weeks after my dad passed away, because in a drunken stupor, I told her how I felt about her and how she made me feel in a text message, and I haven't heard from her in about 9 years. 9 years this year. 9 years this July. I haven't heard from her, and each time I try to reach out, she either talks shit about me by saying that I'm trying too hard, or like she told our biological mother that she doesn't understand why my biological mother at the time was even giving me the time of day, and that she should cut ties with me because I'm an awful person. And she has blocked me from all social media contact. no matter, I mean, I've only tried to reach out like maybe once a year, like, hey, congratulations on your wedding, got blocked. Hey, Merry Christmas, got blocked. Reached out lately to her saying, hey, like if you're ever in town and you want to just hash it out just to have better energy and clear the air. Like, we don't have to hang out. We don't have to be sisters. We don't have to communicate, but you want to just like hash it out and just close it up, and blocked me like that. So, that's what people do to me. They just gaslight the fuck out of me, or they just cut me off. And so I came to terms with my sister cutting me off, and eventually just said, okay, that's it. I can't make anybody like me. I can't make you see that I'm a good person. I can't make you see my soul. I can't make anybody do anything. I can only exude it as much as possible and speak from my experiences and about my life. And whether you believe it or not, that's up to you. But I grew up with people who I didn't want to be like, and they were narcissists, and they were liars, and they were toxic, and they were just not good people. And I am proud to say that now at 40 years old, I am happier than I have ever been in my entire life, and I have set more boundaries than I have ever thought possible, and I am more positive within myself, within my words, and within my thoughts than I have ever been. And I know exactly who I am and exactly what I want and what I deserve and what I know I can give to others. And it feels good. It feels really good. But it's still hard being an empath and a Pisces, and with all these crazy Mercury retrogrades, and I don't know, it feels weird at times. But it's so weird how things just coincide. Like the things that I do, like I naturally trim my rose bush according to the moon cycle. Excuse me. Coffee burps. Oh God. Kind of hurt. I naturally trim my rose bush according to the moon cycle. Like it's insane. And it produces such an enormous an abundance of buds and green leaf growth. And oh my God, it's beautiful. Like this rose bush that I have out front, I have like severely brought it back and turned it into a magnificent piece. Like I think my grandma bear would be proud, because she adored her rose bushes. Like, you did not touch her roses. You did not go near her roses. You did not play near them. They were like in their own area. There was a path, that you could walk on. Even the rose bushes around them had their own little circular brick thing. Like, you don't mess with grandma's roses. So maybe I got that from her. A couple more things to talk about being an empath. One of the things is we tend to see the world in a very unique way. And I've always seen it that way. I think it's because I grew up quick with the adult situation that was in my environment. I have always been, how do I put this? The other side has always made contact with me in some way, whether it's tapping me on the shoulder, pulling at my pant leg, tugging, a piece of hair. I'll hear voices. I'm not crazy, but I hear certain things. I see shadow people, and it's happened a lot, especially living in this house. I think this house has a lot of history, and I know that there's certain presences in this house. I know that my dad and my grandma are one of those protective presences, because I've had a reading on this house before. I know that there's a presence in the hallway. I know that there are 2 children within this house that like to play games. And I'm okay with it. The only thing that I ask is, you just let me live in peace. I let them do their thing and be at peace, but just don't appear to me. I don't want to have a heart attack and die, because that'll probably happen. But, I just see the world a little bit differently, and I don't express it always because I don't want to come off as crazy. I don't want people to think I'm like weird and strange and stuff like that. But I also don't think that we are the only ones here. Um, I think that this is our shell. I think that we are the aliens, and to an extent, because, I mean, just think about it. Not aliens like, the aliens that we've been taught, all these weird, big headed, black-eyed freaking forms, but think about it. There's like other planets out there. There could be other civilizations out there on these planets. They could think that we're the weird looking ones, you know what I mean? Or there could be other people out there that look like us, or a little bit off, or a little bit bigger, or I mean, who knows? We don't know, but we are discovering more and more and more Goldilocks planets that could possibly habitat civilization. Go look it up. It's fucking interesting. And so, and especially like when my dad passed away, I especially started to see the world in a completely different way. It is almost if I started seeing things through his eyes. He was a very chill, wise individual. It's hard to explain that part, but I started to change for the better. I started to care about myself more. I started to care about how I treated others more, especially when things went down within my own family and those that I cut off or lost. And when I especially started to realize my worth, and yeah, it's just, I'm an artist, and so I see the world completely different. It's like it's a canvas, and I'm an optimistic person as well. So like anything can happen, and I'm not rarely surprised by things. But yeah, I don't know. And I don't see things through rose-colored glasses or anything like that. Like, that's just being completely naive. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. That's a tough one. We just see the world differently. That's just how it is. That's just plain and simple. We just see it in a unique way, and that's just how it is. I guess I see things for what they are, and I'm a matter-of-fact person, and I don't sugarcoat, but yeah, I'm just a freaking empath. That's just what it is. So I want to first off thank you, if you were listening or watching, for sticking around for this amount of time. It's almost an hour, and I've been here for quite some time now explaining to you what it's like to be an empath and how I'm an empath. And like I said, it's not something that you just started feeling. So please don't be one of those, like, I don't know if hypochondriac would be the word, but don't act and think that this is you because all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I just started thinking that way and I just started feeling that way. No, you're an empath all of your life. I'm sorry. I don't care what anybody says. You're an empath all of your life. I know for a fact that I am. I constantly do, and I've been putting myself in other people's positions, in other people's shoes, to try to have clarity and better understanding of how they may feel about something in order to understand their side of a situation or whatever it is that they might be going through, in order for me to sympathize with their emotions, because I'm not a careless person. But it's tough to kind of cut stuff off at times because we're a magnet for all of it. And I'm learning how to not be such a magnet. And I don't find this being an empath to be a negative thing whatsoever. I just have to protect myself and my mental health and my well-being, because I am used to people not liking me and expressing that in so many ways, so many hurtful ways, that it just has me sitting here wondering why. Why do you feel like that? And why do you feel that you need to express it like that to me or be like that to me? And as strong as I am, I am still sensitive and things still hurt and I still cry and I still feel really deeply about things and I still pick on myself a lot when things go down. So the slight different change in tone of voice, facial expressions, the lack of somebody being there or wanting to be there, like I pick up on all these so quick to where I immediately pick on myself. And I'm only saying this because I know there are others out there that are not sure if they feel the same way or that do feel the same way and feel alone. And you're not alone. And I'm here to let you know that you're not alone and that it's completely okay to be an empath and to feel this way. And it's completely natural. So my only advice is just to figure out within yourself just how to cope and just how to not allow it to affect you so deeply so you are not drained of your own energy. Because it took a very long time for me to learn how to be happy, like a long time. I used to say that it felt like negativity was flowing through my veins, like I could just shoot it out through my fingers like freaking Spider-Man and just be like, here's my freaking negativity, you know what I mean? And sometimes I feel like I could still do that. Like if somebody brings up a person who has been negative to me and it has brought up the fact that they're talking about me or, you know, just saying like untruthful things about me or just hurtful stuff, it makes me fall back and I'm like, oh my God, like, I would have rather have not heard about that because now I feel like I need to engage and shut it down and be like, listen, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, I want to kick your ass, but that's not who I am. But I kind of want to be that person sometimes. And so lately what I've been practicing is just asking that not be entertained unless I ask for it. And I ask that those who really do care about me and love me not entertain my name being jostled around and spat out of those mouths of those who I dislike, because I don't want them to feel that it's okay to talk about me when I'm not there. And I would appreciate if people would actually defend me if I'm not there, because that's what I do. I don't appreciate or tolerate anybody talking shit about my friends and those that are close and personal to me in my life. And I understand that I have people who are mutual friends with people that I dislike, but like I'm saying, I would appreciate it if you do not entertain my name being jostled around in such a manner, because that just shows your lack of respect for me. And then we're going to have problems because I'm going to have trust issues, and then our relationship is possibly going to be severed because of your lack of respect for me. So with that being said, thank you for sticking around. I appreciate you all hearing me and hearing what I'm all about and my life, and I appreciate you being a subscriber. I don't know who my subscribers are. I don't know how to see my subscribers here on YouTube. So if you know how to do that, please let me know. That way I can reach out to each and every one of you and give thanks. If you would like to be a subscriber, just hit the subscribe button. You can also hit the notification bell so you will be notified when I upload a new video. If you really care and want to hear about me and my life and feel that this is a way that we can connect and relate, this is my channel. All right, until then, stay safe out there. Stay quarantined unless you absolutely need to go outside, because people like me have a low immune system and are afraid that we might end up on a ventilator if we catch this, and I don't want to die from this. I still have a lot to give to this world, and there's still a lot that I want to do, and there's a lot of people that I care about out there that I still want to be involved with in their lives. So stay safe, stay sane, stay positive. Peace.